Let me start again from the quote of Irakli Kobakhidze, chairman of Georgian Dream. The organizers of the ongoing Glory to Ukraine conference in Tbilisi are directly politically affiliated with those political groups which are called radical opposition. So my dear international colleagues, congratulations, you are part of us, radical opposition here in Georgia. Kakakaladze, again statement yesterday. Those European parliamentarians who are talking about de-oligarchization are enemies of this country. By the way, later on, Kobakhidze agreed with Kakakaladze. So this is the situation that we have. When war has started in Ukraine, I was in Ukraine. And I stayed there for 1 month. I was helping our Georgian citizens to evacuate from country and helping Ukrainians in different humanitarian activities. On the third day of the war, on one of the checkpoints, the soldier with machine gun is stopping us and asking for my passport. And I had a diplomatic passport, and I gave him this diplomatic passport. He saw that it was Georgian passport, and he's asking me with aggressive manner, why your government is not supporting us? Why are they against of Ukraine? And that was shocking for me. I didn't know what to think about. And I was lucky that I had a picture of tens of southern Georgians which were at the Rustaveli who were supporting Ukraine. And I showed this picture to this man, and I asked him to differentiate Georgian government and Georgian people. And unfortunately, since that time, up until now, we have same, let's say, same environment, nothing has been changed. And entire Ukraine, I came back from Ukraine just 10 days ago. Entire Ukraine knows now that they need to differentiate Georgian government and Georgian people. Unfortunately, Georgian government, whenever war has started, has chosen Russian side. Because there is either Russian side or Ukrainian and Western side. There is no any other third option here. And I think this is very much clear in this case. We're asking a lot of questions like, why Georgian Dream is attacking West? Why they're attacking US and EU ambassadors? Why they're boycotting this conference? Why they arrested Nika Guaramia on the day when Prime Minister started his visit in Brussels, just 10 days before the final decision of European Commission? Why they are adapting the laws which are fully against of European values, just before the final decision of European Commission? Why they're like attacking opposition? Why they're like arresting a lot of opponents? Why there is politicized justice in Georgia? I think the answer to that is that Georgian government and Georgian Dream does not want to get EU candidacy. I think they tried to do everything to get no from European Union. And they were preparing the entire field for that, by the way, in Georgia. They were telling people that geographically we're far from European Union. We're on another side of the Black Sea. Then they were saying that a lot of different arguments. But argument number one in their hand was that they were like trying to convince Georgian people, and they are using this argument up until now, is that West wants Georgia to be engaged in war against Russia, to open the second front here in Georgia. And we, Georgian Dream, and Bidzina Ivanishvili personally, is ready to secure the peace in this country. That's a narrative that they are trying to sell to this 90% of pro-Western, let's say, Georgian population here in Georgia. So my general question is, how many of you have heard about hybrid war? Raise your hands. I'm sure that 100% of the audience have heard about it. But the second question is, how many of you are aware of a government waging a hybrid war against its own people in the interest of the enemy? How many cases are like that in the world? I think very, I even don't know if it happens, if it is happening somewhere outside in the world. But Georgia is the case like that. There is physical war in Ukraine, but unfortunately, there is hybrid war which is ongoing here in Georgia. And my main message will be that if the threat is not fully understood, the actions will not be effective. If that threat is not fully understood, the actions will not be effective. Yesterday, I listened a lot of, let's say, panelists. They were speaking about Ukrainian case. Many of you were speaking that a lot of actions could be done before the war. A lot of things, 2008 should be kind of a good, let's say, lesson for the West, but unfortunately we failed, and so on. Just imagine what can happen in this country in 1 or 2 years from now if we will not identify what is the threat, if the actions will not be in accordance of the threat which is in this country. Unfortunately, maybe Georgia will fail. Georgia will fail, and we will have completely different regime in this country. In 2024, when there is elections, next parliamentary elections, if everything will go in a way as it is, we will not have free media. We will have political, let's say, opposition, either in jail or in high hill mountains somewhere, like dissidents, which are fighting for European perspective of this country. We will have fully Russian-oriented regime in this country. We will have Georgia, which is more close to Eurasian Union than to European Union and NATO. And that's a real threat. And my question is, what Georgian audience have heard yesterday from this conference? The main message was work together. My question to our international colleagues is, with whom? With whom can I work together? We tried a lot. Even if there were like these debates before we got these 12-point, let's say, recommendations from European Union, we, the opposition parties of Georgia, we called for the extraordinary parliament session. We asked once more to Georgian Dream, let's start joint work in the parliament. What they have done, they boycotted this extraordinary session, and they said that we have our own working groups. Then we, opposition, were criticized why we have not joined this, let's say, informal working groups together with Georgian Dream. Yes? And what is the end game of their working group? That they said that we don't want ISFET here, we don't want Transparency International here. Then they said that we will select even from civil society with whom we're going to work. And have any of you saw any kind of paper from their side? What is their vision, clear vision about 12 points? No, because they are not going to conduct these reforms. Because Georgian Dream is pro-Russian political party which is using hybrid warfare, let's say, mechanisms in order to play the role as if they are pro-Western, as if they want the EU candidacy, but they're preparing themselves to the point when they will say, or they're doing everything somehow to get final no from European Union. So the good part of this everything is that I think the Georgian opposition clearly understands this threat. I think this is our work to convince you that threat is real, our international partners. And I hope that when there will be next time this kind of conferences, there will be less about working together, but more about measures that we can conduct together in order to avoid this huge threat that pro-Western Georgia has right now in country. And last point about 12 points, together with our opposition colleagues, through summer we did a very inclusive work together with civil society, and we prepared our 12-point, let's say, action plan with draft laws. We shared this just last week with civil society. We're waiting for some let's say, additional recommendations from their side. We will publish it for 15th of September. But believe me, nobody in Parliament is going to discuss our legislative amendments, even if we will register this everything in the Parliament. This is, I don't know, more than 20 or 25 legislative amendments that we will jointly register in the Parliament. So again, final point from my side is that if we will not identify the threat, the actions will not be result-oriented. I do believe that Georgia will go back to this track, which is EU and Euro-Atlantic aspirations, the way of joining European Union, NATO. But for that, we need to work a lot, days and nights, and we clearly understand where we stand right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.